All right, everyone. Can people see me and hear me okay? Just want to make sure that everybody can hear me and see me. I just saw some people here, but now disconnected. Well, let's wait for everyone to show up first. Okay, lovely, good. Hello. So we got one. Just gonna wait for a couple more people, and we're gonna start off because the dinosaur is almost dry and it's almost ready to get painted. I've got, oh, if I can lift it, hold on a second. I've got this box of paints here. So we will be utilizing this in our session, and I'll hopefully be able to finish at least doing the basic painting parts on the dinosaur. And if I cannot finish it, we will leave it for the next session, as we probably will have more things to talk about. So let's start off first, before, of course, while we wait for other people to show up. I wanted to open up with talking about, well, basically the Jurassic Park franchise. As I said in the topic, this is going to be only about the movies. We might, if you want to do another stream dedicated to gaming. Specifically, the reason why I'm keeping it narrow is because I don't want it to extend for too long of a period of time. I want to kind of try to keep it relatively compact for other people who come back to catch up so they can watch it. And even last time, 1.5 hours was still quite a long video anyway. So I can imagine it can be quite long for most people, but we will try to keep it nice and simple and just make sure that we get to go over everything and that everybody gets to talk about stuff, and however long it takes. But obviously, we'll try to kind of keep an eye on the time as well. So R-rated. To be honest, I'm actually still a bit confused by how the ratings are allocated. Believe it or not, I actually am not 100% sure. I mean, well, thing is, yeah, with what I wanted to see generally is something that has very good plot. Oh, 18 plus. Well, I mean, it depends. I don't think it would be very beneficial to the story itself. I don't see why it would serve any plot or point. Like, there is really no reason for it to be the case, because then we would alienate the audience of younger people who are younger than 18, just so you can put in the blood and gore, which doesn't serve any kind of purpose. So I don't see the point. So no, my answer is no. And that's from the technical side of things on that part. And of course, as much as I like good quality CGI, I obviously enjoy the fact that, especially the first three, and well, for me personally, the first two, the best anyway, films, they employed very nice practical effects as well with live action, which I really enjoyed a lot as well. It really brought it to life a lot better. I haven't read the books for a long time, so I won't be able to really do anything. I mean, as I said, here we're going to focus on the movies, but I definitely want to order good kind of hardcover, maybe editions of the books, and maybe catch up on reading them again, because I've read them so long ago that I can barely remember anything. I know that I remember there were certain things that are quite different. I know that John Hammond's character doesn't survive in the first book, and he's a completely different character than he is in the films. Which and there are many things in the books that are actually quite done, in my opinion, much better in a sense of how they were showing and laying out the story than overall for the characters than what they did in the films. So, but we're going to stay in the context of films, and once I hopefully soon, fingers crossed, I'll catch up with the books, and we can talk about the books as well. We'll definitely do that kind of content, because I think the book content in Jurassic Park and Lost World could be quite something interesting to explore. Now, I also, I wanted to start off with talking about the plot in general, just the overall story and how it worked, and why my personal choice was that, and why I've made a declaration, I believe, more than on one occasion, that I only acknowledge the first and the second film as canon, and I do not acknowledge anything including Jurassic Park 3 and anything onwards as canon. And there are several reasons why, and but that's my personal choice. It doesn't mean it's the case, because as I said, it's just how I look at it. I grew up on this franchise. It was basically, I saw it when it first came in. I'm old enough to say that I saw it just when it first came in, and I just liked the idea of how the film itself was doing quite well as a story. It had very good character development, and all of the characters in the first film especially had a lot of interesting things. At least at the time when Hollywood was making these kind of movies, it was quite a good progress in character development for this type of films in particular. And I basically was just very impressed, with how they laid out the dialogue, of different points of view. How initially it was all like, whoa, how Ian Malcolm says, wow, wow, and then later there's running and screaming. But that's the second film, so we're in the first film for now. So yeah, I mean, in the first film, how they were first very impressed, and you could see there's this sense of wonder, and it captivates you. It's all great and exciting, but then you start asking the difficult questions, which I think was very cool and showed importance of how the whole thing was transpiring. How many things could go wrong. How it's just basically, the question of philosophical and ethical question that Ian Malcolm proposed of whether or not, should we be looking at whether or not we could, or maybe whether or not we should. So that was something that I really liked in development of his character. I liked Ellie's character development as well, Ellie Settler, because of how she was very multidimensional. Like, she was somebody who could both get the shit done, and at the same time she was very gentle and caring, and was a very nice kind of both feminine character, but very brave, like could stand up for people that she cared about. She refused to back off, when she knew that Alan was stranded there with the kids and stuff. She went out there to look for him, despite the danger and being attacked by Tyrannosaurus. So I think that was really awesome. I liked her character arc a lot. I like her dialogue with Hammond. I think that was very impressive. It was very, it was just like one of those things that really kind of, it was one of those scenes, I think, that was meant to kind of just slap you in the face a little bit, to kind of wake you up from this, ecstatic, dream of trying to get things to work, and just focus on things that need to be sorted right now. And the main problem at the time was that we had people there on the island stranded among free roaming predators who could kill them. And I think that was amazing. We'll talk about that for later. So postpone that for later. We'll talk about the stuff. I've heard something, but I haven't really paid too much attention, to be honest. But there's really not much to add. But let's do it in order, by film. So let's focus on the first film first, please. So yeah, feel free to drop in the chat as well your thoughts about the first film while I'm at it. And then once we are done with that, we'll go to the second film. And then we'll go in the chronological order. In the meantime, I'll also bring up the Tyrannosaurus to show you. Unfortunately, because I wanted to keep the whole view, for the camera of everything here, like all of this stuff that I've got in the background, so I'm kind of slightly on the lower end. So I decided to give this kind of swampy green general color scheme. Unfortunately, my lighting doesn't give you the true effect. So what I will have to do eventually, I'll have to post the pictures of it in one of the videos later with a good quality pictures where the color scheme, or maybe I might just post it on my web, not website, Facebook page. Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I mean, as far as I know, the paddock was quite large overall, but is that was that important in a sense? I mean, the only thing that was important for me in that thing is that the fact that first it was leveled and then all of a sudden it had like a sudden kind of cliff hang sort of thing, like as if it was a pit rather than, yeah, like basically it didn't. It was an obvious error there, which I didn't quite understand how that worked out. But other than that, I didn't really pay too much attention to what the size and dimensions exactly were. I mean, it must have been pretty big. It looks like it was pretty big, at least on the map anyway, I think. So let's decide what we do. We will do the underbelly bits first to just get the bulky parts. We'll pick up a big brush for now. So now it's not that I didn't like it, it's just that it wasn't consistent. You need to be consistent with the world that you're building when you're writing the story or screenplaying the story, whatever way it goes. It's kind of part of both things that should complement each other. So you should really pay attention to these things. Anybody here who wants to write anything, whether it's a fan fiction or a novel, you should always bear in mind that whatever you're writing or trying to do for whatever purpose of storytelling, it has to be consistent with the world that you're building. So for this, this is the color I've picked for that is actually, although it's a spray paint, but that's the color itself. It's Death Guard Green by Citadel. And but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually fill up some of the spaces on it, just to make sure that some of the areas where the spray paint didn't get through, I'll just fill it up with these little gaps. And there are some places that need just a light touch. So I'll try to do it on the camera as much as I can. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll probably lower the camera just so that I don't have to raise myself up too much. So you can actually see me. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. I can actually be a bit more relaxed that way. So we'll just put some of this in here and there. It's just a matter of getting some of the resin, blank resin bits covered up with the very basic paint right now. So we'll just do that. In the meantime, I'll be reading and trying to respond to whatever you guys say. Yeah, dinosaur robots in the first and second film were amazing, in my opinion. I mean, the third film was not bad, but it was kind of already getting a bit off because there were some problems with the Spinosaurus animatronic. They had like a few bits where I think you could see like the strings coming off or something like that. I can't remember. But that you have to like look really hard though. I think I don't even remember exactly at which point. Somebody pointed it to me a while back, but I couldn't remember anymore because it was too long ago. So yeah, the other thing in the first film, again, more for the character arcs. I liked Dr. Grant's character arc development. Really enjoyed the fact that he finally, embraced, the sort of the good sides of the idea of having kids, and living this kind of life. And I think that was kind of what Ellie wanted him to kind of go down to, because she was seeing him as somebody who she would want to probably have kids with eventually. At least that's what I got from it. And he kind of was all about, no, they smell, I don't like kids, blah, blah, blah. And then, well, he eventually came around, and I think that was a very nice sort of evolution of a character there for Alan Grant. But we will talk about his butchering in later when we get to the third film. So then, of course, John Hammond as a character was quite interesting, although he's not the same character as in the books. But I still think it was interesting to see how he was getting literally his dream an illusion, just shattered right in front of his eyes, and how people were literally being just like killed and etc. And just like nobody wanted to endorse his dream of a dinosaur zoo, so to speak. Although, I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of I don't know if that was really one of those things that could never truly happen. I mean, in the sense that are we really sure that we could not have dinosaurs living, in these kind of reserves? You know what I mean? I'm still somewhat conflicted on that part, in the sense that I just don't see how they would always find a way to break out, and it's just kind of, it almost feels like these things were not happening there because it was inevitable, but they were meant to happen just because they were meant to demonstrate something. They were meant to send some kind of a message, but not because as much as in real life would it really happen. I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest. I'm pretty sure you could keep a T-Rex in a zoo if you provide a nice enclosure for it, but not like obviously small, but it has to be really big. Like if you were to have if you've ever seen Kevin Richardson's Lion Whisperer channel, you know how he provides good sort of wide space enclosures for his lions and hyenas, etc., the leopards and stuff. So you could, if you looked at something like this and imagine something similar for dinosaurs, I think that can work. I mean, if we were to kind of go down the route of, an ecological kind of reserve / zoo, whatever, then don't do it in a traditional zoo form, but do it in that kind of form, like the Kevin Richardson Lion Whisperer does. So yeah, guys, I think we should start looking for dinosaurs. I mean, real ones, obviously. So, and we'll have our own reserve. Maybe we can get somebody like Kevin Richardson, and he could come off and be like, "Hey, I can make friends with lions. No reason I cannot do the same with Tyrannosaurus Rex." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, the dinosaurs themselves, despite obviously the accuracy and stuff like that, I mean, they were still portrayed more like animals in certain ways. Like especially T-Rex, it was kind of more like an animal. It wasn't. They weren't portrayed like something that was supposed to have a motivation or a character behind them in that sense. They were just acting like wild animals who were held in captivity and wanted to break out. That was kind of a lot of things there were just kind of their natural reactions and responses to their captors, I guess, who were not probably very nice to them because they had all these tasers and all that stuff. So you never know. So I guess I'm all right with that part. And of course, Ian Malcolm, as said, definitely one of my favorite character developments in a sense. Although, funnily enough, he didn't actually have a lot of development. I think he was the one who kind of was more of a catalyst to other characters' development, more so because he was the one who was always, asking the difficult questions, these kind of things. He was a cynic and a critic, So I don't think it was more to do with him being developed as much as he was actually good in a sense of developing other characters, because he was providing people to, necessary tools to kind of work with in that sense as characters. So I thought that was something to note about Ian Malcolm. And of course, his kind of sarcasm and sense of humor overall, just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Robert Muldoon was just a cool character to watch. I mean, I don't see how he was someone who you would look at and say, yeah, that's a good character development or an arc. He didn't really have an arc as such, but he was just a cool dude with a rifle who basically is supposed to guard, the staff from rampaging dinosaurs, which I think was just really interesting. Just overall, as a concept on the paper, it was really cool. And the actor who was playing him was just really cool as well. Just absolutely brilliant. So I could say the next point I want to move on is the acting. And I think the acting, in one word, can be said as amazing. Absolutely loved it. It was very organic, very nicely done. The reactions and responses of the characters to what was happening around them felt very realistic. So that's definitely something I would consider to be on the top in my list. For this franchise, 100% on the top. Okay, so let's wait for this stuff to dry a little bit. And we're gonna move on to doing the underbelly. Okay. Well, yeah, exactly. Who would not want to have a prehistoric zoo? I mean, and technically, but the thing is, it has to be done very cleverly because it's not just whether or not the animals will break out or not. It's just because if they get overly stressed, they will not eat and they will get ill and eventually they'll die, which is not what you want. It's like basically imagine if you were to keep one of the, you know, wild animals like say like even a cuvier dwarf caiman, which I would love to have a cuvier dwarf caiman as a pet, but I don't have the right means to keep it. Although I can get a license, it's not actually difficult. I heard to get a license, and they are not terribly expensive to get a baby cuvier dwarf caiman here in the UK. The problem is that I just wouldn't have the means to keep it because it's expensive to service their enclosures and keep them. That's the problem. That's where all the money is. It's actually going to the veterinary clinic and all of that stuff. So you kind of have to consider all of these things. And if you are going to consider the plausibility of the prehistoric kind of reserve, then you have to give them a lot of space to roam around. And if you're going to, and of course, one of the other things, you want them to have natural breeding, and for that you have to keep an eye on how they're going to be growing, how they're going to be treating each other when the new generation starts growing up, so that they don't end up killing each other off. So you can actually, but then you have a problem with more space because you need to spread them around so they don't kind of bump into each other and start knocking heads with each other and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So there's like a lot of things that you would have to look at. And what else can I think of? Well, in the first film, I mean, the kids, I don't think there was much with kids aside from just them being the necessary tools to develop Ian Grant's character, and I think they had their place to be. There were times when I felt a little bit annoyed at them because, well, kids in the movies like that, especially, generally, I find them quite annoying. I'm just that kind of person. Sorry for those who loved kid characters in these movies, but I'm not a big fan of kid characters in these kind of movies. But the reason why I wasn't too bad about it, because it served the necessary plot point. Because I was about to say Ian Grant, Alan Grant needed to find his kind of way to develop him as a character, and I think the whole situation of how it all worked out, it kind of really served a good purpose for that, and it felt very nice and organic. So, I mean, what else can we think of? Dennis Nedry, I mean, I don't know. Do you think there could have been more room to develop his characters more, or his side of the story? Maybe not his character, but maybe Dodgson, because Dodgson in the books had a lot more character to him. And I think that's one of the things that I kind of wish that they would have actually introduced in the later films. They would have introduced Biosyn. I wanted for them to kind of show up later to give us a different side of the story. Maybe give us the understanding that maybe they actually are the ones who want dinosaurs to be more kind of, naturally, kept in ecological reserves on a bigger masses of land rather than on an isolated smaller island where they're too kind of crowded and cannot really procreate properly. So it would have been nice if they actually showed some morality aspect to that side of the story rather than just showing them as thieves who want to make money on the black market. So I was kind of hoping that we could get something like that eventually. Never did. So I'm disappointed. And then yes, I mean, yeah, as I said, yeah, that's right, Sam. I'm the same. I forget. Not forget. I forgave the whole thing with kids in the first film because they served a very good plot device, and they really did well in what they were doing and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, by the way, my guest on the channel and Josh, friend Josh, you know who he is. Obviously, Josh will say. He's had, I think he had a picture together with Ariana Richards, who was playing Lex. I think he had her, but I mean, obviously, like as of recently, obviously, because obviously as of now, she's a grown woman. She's not like the little kid anymore who was afraid of the T-Rex robot head. So Yeah, I don't remember if I've showed it in our interview slideshow, but if I haven't, then I'm just letting you know that he does have a picture with her somewhere, I believe. Yeah, there we go. I only have some pictures from not from this franchise, unfortunately. I never had a chance to meet anybody from Jurassic franchise. I have a few pictures with and of some of the secondary cast members of Game of Thrones, and that's it, really. And I also know one of the Game of Thrones actors personally, but also one of the side characters who only appeared like in one season. But yeah, what else about the first film? I want to really make sure that we get everything like laid out before we move on to the second film. So, what about? Well, I mean, there's really the kitchen scene. Yeah, that was very nice and intensely done. I think that was awesome. So some scenes might be worth noting separately, like the kitchen scene, the T-Rex attack breakout scene. The sick Triceratops scene was really nice as well. I think that was really cool. The panorama view of dinosaurs. Notice how dinosaurs were not being shoehorned and thrown at us the whole time. They were only there when there was a specific real reason for them to be there to do whatever it is they were doing. And I think that was absolutely brilliant. I have criticism, though. There is criticism. I absolutely hated that at the end, the raptors were attacking the T-Rex. That raptor basically attacked the T-Rex after the other raptor got killed. It was one of the things that even as a kid I knew was never going to happen. Completely unrealistic. It was obviously done for this awesome bro Hollywood kind of crap purposes, and I just felt like it undermined everything that these animals were being portrayed as. It didn't do them the right service, in my opinion, because that would just not happen. And also, nobody heard the T-Rex coming. Like, how was it able to just sneak up without breaking into the door? Somehow there was no massive hole in the whole thing. It would have had to break in, right? It would have had to break through the front door or something. There's no way the front door was just wide open for it to go in. So that was two things. But I mean, obviously, I didn't notice that much later. But the whole idea of Raptor just not be like, okay, so my mate just got murdered by this T-Rex. I should run because I'm next. That's the point. I just like I couldn't. I was just seeing this and I was like, fucking really? Are you shitting me? I was just sitting there like, come on. Such a great film all along. Everything was so nicely done, and then all of a sudden we're seeing this kind of typical monster fight bullshit, which just wasn't supposed to happen like that. Now, and I agree with you, Hood Angel. I can still forgive it, but it's still there. There's still criticism, okay? It's still there. I mean, it's like I forgive it, but I'm not going to ignore it, okay? There's a difference between forgiving and acknowledging it as well, but I'm acknowledging it, but I'm ready to forgive, okay? That's my point. But I'm not going to ignore it. Now, guys in the chat, are we okay to move to the second film? And I'm going to also continue painting with this underbelly of the dinosaur. So I'm just going to decide which color I want to go with. Probably going to do a lighter Xandri dust or beige. No, I don't think Brachiosaurus would have eaten Lex. Sam, I disagree with that completely. It would have made no sense at all. There's absolutely no reason why it should have eaten a human just out of the blue like that. So, okay, let's go to the second film. Let's not spend too much time on things that are not particularly relevant. So, what about the second film? Well, I'll start with the characters as I did before. And this, unfortunately, is a bit of a letdown for me. I was not very happy with how the characters were handled by a long shot. so much potential, and yet just so much less of the development that I could think that actually would have complemented them. There was just so much more they could do with these characters and the plot that they could just build up on. And like first of all, Ian Malcolm, for some reason, like from this really sarcastic and kind of sharp guy, he got reduced to someone I would almost say akin to, well, not a beta male, but kind of weak. I don't know, like he didn't feel very strong to me. I don't know, maybe he just wasn't even that kind of character to begin with, and I misread them from the first film, but don't know, just really wasn't feeling him anymore. And that's, other than his whole later there's running and screaming line, I just or mom is very angry, I kind of, I just really couldn't kind of follow him in that sense and be like, yeah, okay, what is he about? Well, right now I'm just not, yeah, exactly. Biosyn is where they could have done instead as well. I didn't like the idea that they chose to go down that trope. They should have just gone down with Biosyn and actually gave us some more perspective and something that would actually introduce something different to the story as well. Instead, we just have somebody else who wants to do exactly the same thing, but just landed in a different place. But it's exactly the same concept. But if they had Biosyn, they could have had the potential to introduce a completely different concept. And that would have been really cool and made this movie much, much better than it already is. Because it would have complemented all of the other hard work they've done with animatronics and designs. Because I actually liked the designs of Animal in this film the most. This is my favorite animal designs of all the films in the whole thing. The second film is my favorite in that sense. So as you can see, I'm just gonna show you in a second what I'm playing with here. Just kind of trying to make sure I blend some of these colors in. So yeah, I don't know if you can see a whole lot, but this bit here is where I'm sort of introducing a different tint. So yeah, and Sarah Cardin character, I just really, I mean, Julianne Moore is such a good actress. She's really talented, and I'm just kind of surprised they didn't give her more to work with. I felt like they didn't really, the writers of the whole thing, they didn't give her character more to do. She was very one-dimensional, and I just can't quite believe in the idea that a girlfriend would run off to an island full of dinosaurs without telling her boyfriend about it and expecting things to go smoothly after that, and just completely brushing him off aside like he was nothing. That's a bitch thing. That's not a good character trait. I don't know if they were intending for that to happen, but I didn't like it. I thought that was completely, like, that was bollocks, honestly. I didn't like that. That felt very fake and very forced, and considering Ian Malcolm's later reaction to it, it made him look even worse than he was already at that point. Like, they just really made everyone, both Sarah and Ian Malcolm's character, so much weaker from that point, for me anyway. Like, I could not have any respect for them at that point when I realized that she just basically went on and took off to one of the most dangerous places in the world without even telling her boyfriend, without trying to find out maybe any good reasons and means how to approach it. Maybe they could have come up with something together, you know what I mean? Like, maybe she could have talked him into it eventually, and he would have actually helped her rather than just going there and being all kind of caught up in this whole thing where he didn't want to be. And it's just kind of really felt like a mess to me, and I didn't really like that. That was something I just really kind of got a bit annoyed with, honestly. So again, everybody's different on that. I've heard people who like this plot point. That's fine. You can like whatever you want, but I'm just saying that I didn't. Yeah, Kelly is from Ian Malcolm's previous relationship, basically. I don't know whether I think he was married, actually, to another woman. So yeah, Kelly is his daughter from previous let's just say relationship, because I can't remember if it was marriage or if it was just a relationship. And the interesting thing about Kelly is that her character did not need to be in the movie. That was as simple as that, full stop. Her character was just completely pointless in this film. She had no reason to be there. In fact, if anything, she was only getting in the way, and all of the things where all this time that was given to her should have instead been given to other characters so they could be developed better. So yeah, her character to me personally was a waste. Didn't see any reason for her to be there. Or if she was there, then they should have given her something a bit more, useful and actually necessary for the plot. That's something that would actually complement the story, which it didn't. So whatever. Yeah. Yeah, the gymnastics scene was just so like, okay, is this really what we need to be wasting the screen time on? I mean, yeah, of course, I know. I mean, I cannot do that. I don't know how to do gymnastics like that. But that's not really the point, is it? So, well, you see that this is another thing with Eddie Carr, cool. And the same with Nick Van Owen. They had some interesting kind of premises that could be developed, but they never got any development. And although I cared for Eddie a bit more because he did kind of, try to fight it to the end and get get them out, to make sure that they could be saved from falling. I don't know, man. Like, it's like, yeah, I understand that I was supposed to get upset about his death, but I couldn't quite because they haven't really built up his character to make me really care about him all that much, and even if there were some things, some info drops about him, I didn't even notice them too much because they weren't really explored very much or anything like that. So whatever, another guy got murdered by T-Rexes. That's kind of why I came to see the movie, boo-hoo. Right. Okay, let's give it some rest for a bit, and then we'll continue. Yeah, I need to reread the books again so I can remember what actually happened there. I really wish there was but yeah, books definitely had. I remember books had a stronger effect on me than the movies did. But okay, well, what else with the characters? I mean, Ludlow's character as well. Nothing, just point blank. Couldn't care less. Hammond appeared because he needed to appear, and that was it. To give his speech at the end, which was okay, good, but nothing major that was needed for the plot. Just kind of when it comes to the plot and the character development in this film, it's kind of a bit all over the place. I will have one thing to say that I liked about the characters. Roland Tembo. Now that one was like, like I absolutely just love this character, man. Like, and it's too bad that he's that the actor actually, I think the actor passed away already. Unfortunately, I think he died. But I would have loved if they actually introduced some more about him. But I liked his development. He actually had an arc, in contrast at least with every other character of this film. He actually had a good arc. He kind of started off as this trophy hunter, and then he wanted to, he thought maybe he could capture it, and then he thought, you know what, screw all this stuff, it's not worth it. So many people of my team have died, and etc. For what, for this bonkers of a reason, whatever, and he just decided to walk away. And I think there's some kind of thing, something you could respect about that in a sense. Yeah. I was gonna say there is. It's such a shame that they never included it. At least if they made an extended edition, they should have included that scene with him. I really, really hate them for leaving some unnecessary scenes there and removing scenes that could have actually contributed to the character development a lot more. I absolutely just didn't understand why they just either didn't include it in extended version or didn't swap certain scenes, like just remove some scenes completely, which just didn't need to be there, and just put that scene in. Yeah, I was gonna say that the mainland part just didn't need to happen. They could have just released the T-Rex and let it go back to its family. I didn't see the point of having that whole scene. So if they were to stick to the duration, to the length of the same film, instead of all of that nonsense in the city, we could have just had more character development and some more actual dialogues going on and some more things happening there. Hey, welcome. So I just felt like they wasted a lot of things on stuff that just didn't need to happen. I'm gonna open the window because it's a little bit hot in here. Just give me a second. Okay. Scene with parents. You mean the one in the beginning where the girl was attacked by Compsognathus? I mean, I don't even know. It didn't make me feel anything. Like if I were to say, if I were to say whether this scene was necessary or not, I'd probably say it just had no reason to be there. Like if you were to remove it, I don't think it would have affected the plot in any possible way. Oh, the city one with the city one. What would you say with a night light? Are you talking about the scene where? Oh, this one. Yeah. Where it was like, oh, there's a dinosaur in our backyard. Yeah, that whole thing, man. That whole thing just needed to be out of there. It just didn't need to be there at all. I personally think that it should have just altogether been cut. There was no reason for any of that to be there. It just served absolutely no plot at all. They should have just kept the events, just like I think they did in the book as well. They never actually left. Dinosaurs never actually left the island, which I think should have actually been the same way as they did. Yeah, the one with the kid and the dog, that was just completely unnecessary. I just didn't see why they even wanted to put that in. It's just so dumb. And what else? Well, okay. Dinosaurs themselves, I really enjoyed the portrayal. I love the Stegosaurus, like as I saw someone say earlier on. Stegosaurus were awesome. T-Rexes were amazing too. But I kind of wished that the whole scene with the trailer we would have actually seen them trying to shove them off the cliff rather than just them being off the camera. I kind of would have preferred for the T-Rex to actually show how it just slammed against the trailer and just toppled it over. I can't even remember. Like I said, I read the books a long time ago, so I don't know. I mean, the thing to consider here is whether or not it would make me believe that Compass would actually be capable of doing that. I kind of don't think that the idea of making Compass super vicious like this was a good idea. They were trying to kind of pull off something similar, akin to piranhas, maybe, but in the dinosaur equivalent, which I just personally didn't believe it was possible. As far as I'm concerned, I think any one of us could have just come up to this Compass and just kicked them about. Like one good kick, you break every single bone in there. Like, come on. Even a chicken would be tougher than a Compass, dude. Come on. And you're telling me that they could take down a full-grown man like Data Stark or whatever. Stark? By the way, they killed a Stark. Just realized that. Oh my goodness, yeah. This might take quite a while. Yeah, we will definitely break this session down in 2 parts. So once we finish talking about all the movies, we're gonna wrap it up, and we will continue painting the dinosaur if I don't finish, because I think I will be able to only finish the base stuff, because then we will have to do layers of detailing and washes and all of that stuff, because we want to make it super realistic as much as possible, given the size scale that is provided available here. We'll try to do our best, but we will not be able to do it all in one go. So we'll have to obviously split this up in different times. No, I don't think piranhas are that bad. I mean, yeah, they can bite you quite nastily. They can give you nasty bites, of course, but not like in the movies. And the scale is 1 to 35, this one in particular. But the ones I want to make, the new ones, after I make some of my other 1 to 10 scale, I want to actually go to 1 to 20 scale. For 1 to 20 scale, I have an idea of what I want to do already. I want to make 3 T-Rexes, different poses. And I want them to be compatible so that they could all be part of the same scene. And when I paint them, I'm going to paint them akin to the 3 dragons from Game of Thrones. And then what we're going to do is we're going to post them akin to the real life Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion, and then everybody has to spam it everywhere. I mean, well, spam it, I mean like share it on Twitter, on Instagram, etc., and tag Emilia Clarke in it, and see if she actually responds or likes anyone's picture or post, and then share it on my channel. Just see who gets it, if anybody at all. So what else about the second film? Well, I mean, I gotta say as well, the male T-Rex is my favorite design of all of them. I really liked how they just done some nice extra detailing on the model from the previous film and decided to kind of incorporate something that could be akin to dimorphism. So that was really cool. And no, I have not made a juvenile Tyrannosaurus. If I am gonna make one, I will likely make it based off Jane, probably. Well, the problem is with dragons, especially if it's like Game of Thrones dragons, I don't want to sculpt anything big like this and invest my money into it, and because it's a licensed product and I won't be able to make any money back from it. I do want to contact George Martin and maybe eventually do some character resin kits from based on Song of Ice and Fire books, but not based on the Game of Thrones show, more or so akin to the books themselves, and actually give a more realistic representation of their like equipment, clothing, weapons, and armor and stuff. But and maybe even dragons too, but much smaller scale, obviously, for the dragons. But I want to make sure that I can actually get some kind of permission from him, so that me as an independent artist, I can make this, so I don't get into problems. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to the second film to finish up, and then we'll move on to the third film. And on the third film is where all my ranting is going to start. But we'll wait for that, so patience. Oh, you're ready? Okay. Well, let's make sure that everyone else is happy with what we've covered. I mean, we've established that dinosaurs in the second film are done nicely because we like them. We have said that, haven't we? And we covered the characters because there was just not a lot to cover, and all the problems that we didn't like with it. Yeah, I think we're quite okay. Yes. Well, give me a second to dry the brush, because this is where all the shit starts hitting the fan. Right. Well, what can I say? I fucking hate that film. Absolutely hate it. Because, well, okay, starting from the characters. Completely boring, useless nonsense. Like, absolute nonsense. I mean, Billy Brennan had such a cool potential, but they made him survive instead of him dying, for his dream of being the so-called metaphorical astronaut, No, he lived. Although I don't think that his death should have come in that form with pteranodons. He should have been killed maybe by... Oh, how about that Ceratosaurus that just randomly appeared out of nowhere for really nothing other than to get put off by spinal poop? That Ceratosaurus could have been a bit more useful. Maybe killed Billy somehow. I don't know. Just a thought. So, I'm not going to rant about T-Rex versus Spinosaurus scene because it's just been so, like, this horse is long dead. It's been beaten up many times. You already know how I feel about it. So, yeah, I feel you with that. Soldier. I'm just going to call you Soldier. I feel you with that, but I'm not going to get into that because I think we've heard so many problems with it. Many of us have problems with it. Some people don't. That's fine. I congratulate you. But I had a problem with that for many different reasons, which are not to do with T-Rex being my favorite dinosaur, but they are actually to do with many other things. It's like they're trying to basically let the past die. It's almost like they were trying to pull the Last Jedi on us there, in a sense. Like, yeah. Who knew this would somehow become relevant? Yeah, and I know I haven't forgiven either. Don't worry, I'm still like not, I'm over it, but that doesn't mean I forgave him. In a sense, like. It's just my anger right now is more precise and controlled and calculated. Back in the days, it was just all over the place. I was just ranting like a motherfucker. Now, the other thing, that I absolutely hated was how they butchered Alan Grant's character. It's like the guy who basically made so much progress in the first film evolved into this different person, and all of a sudden, he just basically, they decided that it wasn't going to work out, and Ellie goes off with another guy, has kids with him, and then she still tells him that he is the best. Why are you with another dude if he's still the best? What the fuck is wrong with you? Doesn't make sense. Amanda's character, yes, absolutely terrible. Paul's character, also kind of terrible. Udesky, just a meat shield, nothing else, just cannon fodder. Nash, Cooper, same thing, cannon fodder, completely useless. Bunch of mercenaries who just got their asses kicked by animals, although they technically were supposed to be like a band of mercenaries who could protect them. Yeah, where did that? What happened to that? Never mind. And now we have another problem with kid characters. Exactly my point. How would somebody with no food, surrounded by dangerous predators of all different shapes and sizes, be able to survive on this island for so long? That's just... I'm done. Like, seriously. By the way, yeah, that Spinosaurus should have just fallen over at least. You know, even if it survived, it would not be chasing them after that. It would probably just, I don't know, screech in pain for a little bit and then just walk off or limp off. I don't know. And yeah, notice how Spinosaurus just basically became this Mary Sue, in a sense. It was hit by a plane, nothing fucking happened to it. Like, no scars, nothing. It didn't even, like, retreat because it was inflicted a terrible pain or injury. Then it appeared. After the humans basically lost it from pursuit, it decided that it was still going to pursue them for whatever stupid reason. And then it fights a T-Rex. It has absolutely no scratches, no scars whatsoever left from the fight with the T-Rex at all. And that was just something that... And basically, yeah, it withstood the power of T-Rex bite, which basically should have been game over straight away for that. From that point on, it should have just died there. Like, the moment T-Rex went boom, to the ground, game over. That's when it should have just ended, right there. Then, yeah, the phone ringing from outside of this stomach, like, what the actual fuck? I'm sorry, but my God, this freaking movie, man. And the whole thing just felt like it was just pointless. And this is what I'm talking about. This is where they stopped being Jurassic Park films in every sense. They don't offer any substance. There's practically no reason why this whole movie needed to exist. There's just no need for it to exist. It doesn't add anything to the franchise at all. I was actually happy with them just being 2 films, to be honest, at the time when they were done. Honestly, I actually was quite happy with that. I was truly enjoying what I had at that time. I didn't feel, back in the days when it was like, what, 2000 or 2001, whatever it was out. I think it was 2000 or 2001. But anyway, I felt no need at all for this film. At all. I was excited at first because I thought, oh, new Jurassic Park film, because previous films were kind of cool. Although second film was not as good as the first, but I was like still happy about it. You know, I thought, yeah, that's cool. And then I saw it and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Something that had Jurassic Park stapled on it with a different dinosaur logo for some stupid reason. And then bunch of stupid inorganic characters who kept screaming and shouting all the time, and this stupid family drama bullshit that I didn't care about. Completely different design of velociraptors that's not consistent with anything that was established. Parasaurolophus all of a sudden changed colors, like just color swap, click of fingers. Then we have Brachiosaurus, also for some reason, complete swap of colors. And well, I mean, alpha female maybe, a matriarch, I don't know, depends. it's like, yeah, they changed it but at least, okay, here's the thing. In the 2015, at least they were consistent with their original designs. They just have different skin colors, which is plausible, maybe, that they can display, different patterns. Some of them were even similar to the previous films anyway, some of them. So I was fine with that. I was not fine with JT3 Raptors, although I like the designs. Yeah, that's the funny thing. I like their designs and looks, but I just didn't like the fact that it was completely out of place. It was not consistent. They never established that they could have been some other species. Like, there's a whole bunch of fanon and fan fiction nonsense about it that's been spread in Jurassic Park, in places like Jurassic Park Wiki, and given away as if that's a thing, and that's not a thing. Not movies never established that. There's just a whole other bunch of bullcrap that's just going on with this film ever since JP3 basically hit the theater. That's when all the bullshit started happening. I need water. The pteranodons with teeth. Thank you, Hood Angel. Pteranodon, what does that mean? Come on. Toothless lizard with teeth. No, but seriously though, like, what the hell are they actually thinking when they were doing this? Like, I can't. I'm just trying not to swear too much because YouTube, but I will probably not pay any money for the new film. Either I'm gonna save up enough points to get a free ticket whenever it comes out, or if not, I'm just gonna watch it after the films. I don't think I'm gonna go and watch it in the movies. Unless I get invited to, which is a different story. Because if I'm invited to go watch it, then yeah, can't refuse, But yeah. Oh, dude, you are angry. Good. Let the hate flow through you. Oh, yes. Be angry, guys. Sorry about that loud thing with the mic. I didn't mean to go completely nuts on you, but be fucking angry. Because that's what we love it. Let the hate flow through you. Let this passion, flow through you as well. House AKRX is gonna conquer the world eventually. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're gonna be going out there showing them all how it's done. Because every one of mine fights with the strength of 10 of everyone else's. Remember that. Every one of you is 10 times stronger than everyone else out there from other places. Know what I'm saying? Right. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, they haven't even explained anything about the origin of how the Spinosaurus could have come. They haven't come across with any, like, notes, maybe lab notes. Maybe they've made it a T-Rex hybrid. If they made a Spinosaurus a T-Rex hybrid, by the way, of some sort, basically modified T-Rex on steroids with different phenotype and skeleton, so to speak, but with T-Rex DNA as the base, I would actually have been happy to accept, to accept this as something, like, yeah, okay, so technically a modified T-Rex, whatever, looks like a Spino, nominally is a Spino, but not really, still kill the actual T-Rex. So, okay, maybe I could work with that. It would have been something a bit, let's just say kind of, sand out these kind of, file out these little smooth areas, like, make these sharp edges a little bit smoother, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. I think that would have done the job. 1,000 AKRX subs equals 1 million. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Just make it should have just made it a hybrid and make a T-Rex as a base. That's the most important thing, because that's where it would become like it's like a strength but multiplied with certain other factors. You know what I mean? That's why it would have made more sense for it to be able to be the T-Rex in the fight. Yeah, I know, I know. I'm as I said, I'm just watching this train wreck fail. I don't care anymore. So so what else was it? Well, I mean, we saw a brief scene with Ankylosaurus, which probably cost quite a bit of money. Not that I minded it, I liked Ankylosaurus, but I didn't feel like it was any need for them to be there in that sort of extra scene. They could have really saved a lot of things. So I don't know, man. Like, what? Why do we need so many different out of the blue appearing dinosaurs, and how do they fit so many of them in this ecosystem? How do they fit so many predators in this ecosystem? I would have thought that the only predators that could truly partition in this whole environment basically would be, well, it would be a T-Rex, raptors, compies, and maybe a Ceratosaurus. If they don't have Carnotaurus, then it would be Ceratosaurus then, from that context. But that's it. Spinosaurus, in my opinion, I just don't see how it can have any chance of surviving there. If it's not, because the two predators are like that, especially with T-Rex being clearly the dominant one overall as an animal, because there's more T-Rexes there. I just don't see Spinosaurus really having the right place there. So it kind of makes no sense. It becomes typically like tin canned and just stupid. I don't know. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think people just haven't truly invested their time into writing a good story for a movie, or just generally a good story for dinosaur kind of franchise. I just think that nobody has truly set the task on a table to actually try and get it to work, just to see what it would take to make it work. Because you can make a story with dinosaurs work quite nicely, but you have to understand that just because people might be wanting to read or watch that story because they know they will see dinosaurs, you have to introduce very good characters and story itself. Otherwise, it's just going to be a crappy story with expensive CGI and animatronics. JP3 basically. So yeah, I mean, you need good character development. You need good story overall. Something that has actual reasons to be there. Something that can carry something over for you. That can leave some kind of taste, for you after you watch it. So what else? That's the other thing. You see the wasted potential of some of the actors as well. I mean, it's not like Alessandro Nivola is a bad actor, or William H Macy or Tia Leone. They're actually quite decent actors, as far as I'm aware of. Tia Leone, back in the days, especially at the time when even the movie was made, dude, she was smoking hot. If you were to Google her, like young pictures of her younger self in that time, from her photo shoots where she kind of shows herself off a little bit. Ooh, that's a woman, you know what I'm saying? Like, gorgeous woman. No, I'm serious though. I'm not like, I mean, I know I was kind of sounding a bit like a perv there, but I'm being serious. She's actually really good looking, especially like back in those times when the movie first came out. If you look at her pictures, she's really nice. And also, she's pretty decent as an actress. I'm pretty sure she could have done a lot more with her character if they actually gave her a good script. And it's the same with William H Macy. He's actually quite a decent actor, but they just haven't been given good parts to perform because there was just really nothing compelling about this whole idea. The motivation to go to the island was very forced because, well, for all we know, as soon as this guy ended up on that island, he should have just been dead and or declared dead and forgotten. You know what I'm saying? I don't see anybody in the right mind who would be willing to agree to go to the operation to save one human at the expense and risks of others. Right. So this is right. I'm nearly done with this base code, and we're gonna start laying out some patterns soon. Just give me a few more minutes to just finish up some areas. But I think I'm nearly done with that. And this is also going to be a nice way for me to test out a color scheme that I've been wanting to do for a while. What? Oh yeah, the other leg. Right. Yeah. I died at that, man. I was just, I was like, I was on the floor. I was crying at that. Oh my God, man. No. This is not for anybody. This is basically as soon as I finish this, I'm just gonna be putting it up for sale. Once I take the pictures and everything for the portfolio and etc., I'm just gonna put it up for sale. So once I decide, of course, how much I wanted to sell it for, I will put it up there and I will make an announcement, and any of you will have a chance to purchase it as well. So it's not actually done for anybody specific. This is actually gonna be put up on sale, and you guys will be able to purchase it for yourselves if you want. Yeah, how do you tricyclopus? Tricyclopus. But the problem is that the hybrids, they kind of give you this, you know, sense of like you're losing your touch with the original concept. You know what I mean? Like instead of just sending how the original message was being made and stuff, you know, with the animals and everything, it's kind of just becoming too murky, overly cheesy monster sci-fi, which is something that is not really what JP is. That's just not JP. Right, let me just quickly do this bit and I'll give you a bit of an update on how it's going so y'all can see what's going on. Okay, I don't know if you can see much, unfortunately, because of the stupid lighting in my room. Yeah. Problem is as well, because aside from the light, oh, actually, what if I was... Yeah. Can you see this sort of tint with the sort of beige and the green, swampy green, right? So you can see it in that area there a lot better. So go like that. They can be. It depends on material, like on what you're using. But like for example, obviously you have to pay quite a bit to get the clay. But it depends, of course, what sort of size scale. I mean, one of the reasons why I decided to switch to a smaller scale later on for bigger pieces, of course, as much as I would love to have a, you know, 48-inch long T-Rex model, and maybe I eventually will do it. But right now, it's just gonna be financially impossible for me to handle this kind of projects, and also I don't have physical means to do it because my pressure chamber that I use for casting my parts in resin and making the molds as well, it's too small for this kind of parts. You know, I would have to break it down into so many different parts that it's just going to become a little bit insane in that sense, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm going to have to either wait till I can afford a bigger pressure chamber and hope that that would definitely, you know, that would allow me to get this T-Rex done as well, or alternatively just wait for my trio of T-Rexes when it comes out in 1:20 scale once I start sculpting it. And since I've learned a few things and tricks in between, so also it's going to be bigger than this. Obviously, it's going to be about 1:20 scale T-Rex. Is going to be the size overall length of this ruler if it's straight. Obviously, if it's all stretched out, roughly, that's the equivalent of a 12-meter long T-Rex. Oh, and yeah, next to this, see, that's 1:35. This will be 1:20. Right. Yeah, Trisic. I thought it was Tricyclopus, to be honest, or Tricyclopus. Fuck, I don't know. My tongue is gonna break when I'm trying to pronounce that nonsense. But it was funny. I genuinely, I was just like dying at that one. Honestly, it was so hilarious when he said that. If somebody said that to me in real life, I would probably just like laugh myself to death. Yeah, don't worry, we'll get to that later. Let me just think. What else can we add? Anybody else has anything to add in the third film? Also, has anybody else felt a bit weird about why we've never heard about these pteranodons that escaped in the third film? It's like, yeah, they escaped, but we're just gonna forget about them. It's like, you know, like Daenerys kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet, so we're just gonna kind of forget about these pteranodons. Yeah, how did Raptor set a trap? Oh my god, this is where I have a problem as well. Overly intelligent animals almost getting to the point where they are becoming humanized, and this is the first sign when they just started really, really degrading and failing in my eyes, when of how this whole thing was being written. Just so like silly and forced, cheesy, completely inorganic. I don't know, man. There's some. I'm just trying to think of what else. Right, okay, this needs to dry up a little bit again. And then we're gonna go over some other bits. Yeah, that's true. I agree. Or else Grant would have been a dead meat. Yeah, and this whole they're communicating. Bollocks. Next. And how did Ellie, by the way, know where Grant was? And how did she know to send help? And how did she even manage to convince the military to go after them? Like, does Grant somehow have some kind of special ties to the military? Why they would owe him something so that they would not basically tell them to fuck off? I don't understand that. So yeah, anybody else find that weird, or am I the only one who thinks it was completely out of nowhere? Um, Unless you're being sarcastic and kidding me, I cannot remember that line anywhere. Was that in the third film somewhere? Where does he mention anything about being a veteran of war? Unless you're obviously joking, because I haven't seen the third. Well, I mean, I haven't seen the movies. Oh well, yeah, there you go. Because I'm pretty sure, although because the thing is, you see, the reason why I almost believed you, and I was trying to remember when that was because I just haven't seen the movies for a long time, so I just couldn't remember anymore. Yeah, well, okay, maybe, but then again, it was just so out of nowhere almost because they never actually gave us anything that would just be like they dropped maybe one liner somewhere that we just probably forgot because we just wanted to fast forward the whole thing until we start seeing dinosaurs murdering humans basically. I think the whole point was that maybe T-Rexes on Isla Sorna were not uh, you know like they were not subject to that same blind spot as that T-Rex from the first film, because we never saw that sort of thing being implemented in the second film either. Because technically, the only reason why the T-Rex, for example, when it was sniffing them out in the tent, did not go for them straight away, it's because they were completely still, so the T-Rex would believe there's nothing there. But even then, I think it was already onto something. It wouldn't have just gone there for no reason. I think it started picking up a scent, and it was just like, there's something there. Let's check it out. So I don't know what would have happened in the second film if it continued sniffing and it realized that those two things are actually humans and could be potentially delicious. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I enjoyed visuals in the JP3. I just didn't enjoy the film. That's the problem. Visuals cannot save a film. If the film is objectively terrible, it's just what it is. Some people like it, and that's fine. I don't blame people or judge people for liking a terrible product. You're welcome to like it, but just don't try to tell me that it's good. Yeah, yeah, I know. For five people, and they send almost the whole freaking army, man. Why? Why not to just a couple rescue helicopters that would have been perfectly fine? They didn't need to send the freaking navy. Yeah, like As if you have planes basically, lined up there for no real. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's this thing about. Oh my God, I don't know how to explain this, but it's almost like the characters in the movie don't have a concept of expenses and costs for things. Like, where did they get that spare plane to shoot? Like, I don't understand. And even then, okay, they showed that, but it never paid off. They never actually used the rifle to take down anything dangerous. It never paid off in the end. So what was the point of that? That was just another thing that could have never happened there. Well, okay, are we ready to move on to the Jurassic World 2015? Or do we still have things to add for JP3? Knox, we already discussed that this may be an idea as something. In case you weren't here, we were kind of just putting it out there on a table that if they made a hybrid which had which was used as a base of a T-Rex, so like using T-Rex as a base, that would have explained why it was stronger than T-Rex and was able to defeat it. But they never did that. They never gave us anything. They gave us jack shit. So, yeah. If everybody's happy, I see like at least two people are ready to move on. I presume, Torv, are you ready to move on as well? You said okay. Does that mean that you're ready to go? Okay, yeah, okay, cool. If you're happy, then it's fine. I'll move on. If you have any more things to bring up, then let's finish them up and then we can move on. So, okay, cool. Yes, screaming out loud is always a bad idea. You always keep as quiet as possible to not attract attention. So that was dumb as fuck. Sorry about YouTube, but I'm getting pumped. Ugh. Rant mode. Phone. Now that we have, started touching some sensitive subjects. Jurassic World 2015. Oh my God. I was really conflicted initially. I need to go and see this movie several times before it even came out on Blu-ray because I really, and I mean really, yeah, Ankylosaurus. And I mean like really wanted to like it because I waited for like bloody 14 years for that film to come out. Like, ever since the third film came out, I was already hoping that there would be a fourth film where they were gonna do something better, hopefully cooler, hopefully more interesting. Give us more interesting characters, give us something better, or maybe just completely retcon JP3 and just do a third film, but something that kind of follows from the second part without, this whole nonsense that they were doing. There's none of that gibberish in JP3. So yeah, well, the first thing is a general thing. Yeah, like how can people just get tired of dinosaurs if people in real life they go to zoo to see the animals like every other animal in the zoo, and nobody ever gets tired of that. You know what I mean? You always admire it. You always like it. Like I've seen, I don't know, I lost count how many times I've seen lions and tigers, and I still love to see them. Every time, even more. I don't understand how could you get tired of seeing dinosaurs. That's just a bunch of bull crap. It was just completely dumb. And yeah, I was gonna say, similar, homage in similar ways in some areas, maybe with some music in, playing like by John Williams, but kind of remastered versions, like they've done in Godzilla King of the Monsters, when Godzilla was resurfacing, and there was this doo-doo-dum, doo-doo-dum, dum, 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 like, and as soon as it started kind of in a slow kind of motion, I was like sitting there like like, you're like, yes, I'm ready. I am ready. Ready when you are, But yeah, they really just failed to show us like the cool, like true awesome aspects of the of the movie. I think they could have had a lot more there, but the problem as well is there was no reason for this movie to exist. Sorry, I had to hide that thing because you repeated that message again, so I'm just gonna hide it. Not gonna post identical messages. No duplicates in the chat, please. And so, yeah, they're just completely, pointless, and they become this kind of cash cow, that they're just milking because it has a name, it has certain things attached to it, and the overall story just really, it's like we've already had the park concept before, except that it wasn't really open to public. That was the only difference. We know how that worked out. So in the context of this universe, there was no reason why they should have even ever been allowed to have that, even if the whole thing, was actually done by a different company, because Masrani decided to step in so that he could, because he was, I presume he was a good friend of John Hammond's, because he did say that John Hammond entrusted him with his dream, blah, blah, blah. So, I think that was the whole point. Like, he was trying to, show us that he cared about what John Hammond envisioned, and he wanted for this vision to come true. And now I think we can move on to characters, now that we started touching some of the characters. I'm going to put this thing down for now because it's a bit heavy. I might have to pull it out again, though, once we get to the Fallen Kingdom. Oh, can have a plastic sword instead. So, yeah, lots of money spent, and it made a lot of money because obviously it was a highly anticipated movie. People wanted to see it. They wanted to finally see another. No, I hated Fallen Kingdom. As I said that in the beginning of the stream as well. Everything that is not the first and second film, to me, does not exist. I hated Fallen Kingdom. I absolutely despise it. Well, when we get to it, I will tell you what my problems were. It's an absolutely shit film. Jurassic World 2015 is kind of a shit film as well, but it's just a good kind of CGI fest, but it's not really a good movie, objectively. There is nothing that really makes it a good movie. And Fallen Kingdom, even worse. I like Chris Pratt, and I liked his character. His acting was great. His delivery, his character as a concept actually would have been great if they have actually just done really good, in-depth story for them, because he had this kind of unique idea that he was the only one who got close to becoming like a dinosaur carer, in that sense, that because you could see how he understood dinosaurs, how he needed to behave around them, to make sure that nothing would go wrong, like when, for example, they what was it? Like when the Indominus Rex broke out, he immediately tried to cover his scent, cover himself up, whatever. He was just like always staying calm and trying to breathe very slowly so that he doesn't get detected. There was all these things that it's like he knew what he was doing, and I loved it. I think they needed more development for his character. I think he was a bit underdeveloped, but he was really good as a potential. He was like it was almost like he could have been potentially the next level of Robert Muldoon, but on a slightly different angle, and I kind of like that approach on him. I think it was really awesome. Yeah, I was going to say he could have been the Kevin Richardson of Jurassic World. Exactly. I would have loved that. I'm actually happy that many of you guys here know who Kevin Richardson is, because it just really helps me, to make the point clear a bit more as well. So the other thing with Claire's character, conflicting, because she didn't feel like she really developed too much. And I think that this whole high heels scene running from T-Rex completely ruined it for her, because she was actually like, there were several things I liked about her. For once, good looking, and not like a Hollywood bimbo type of good looking, but very nice, natural kind of feminine, good looks, that I really like. And she was actually the first female character in the film franchise that I actually found genuinely attractive in that sense. I mean, Ellie I was not finding her that attractive. I just find her interesting and cool as a character. It's a different thing. With Claire, I found her attractive as a woman, but I think there would have been a lot better if she was, yeah, exactly. It felt unearned. She needed something more to her. She needed a bit more of that sort of eye-opening, maybe. She needed to actually show some more evolution of the character, although she did kind of end up, showing some kind of, remorse and regret about how she was treating the concept of how the animals, because they were like assets, and she kind of was trying to mask it, that she was aware of what they were, but she wasn't really. And but I kind of felt like there wasn't enough done to pay attention to this. I felt like I wanted a bit more about that. I wanted to explore a bit more about why Owen was always kind of, poking her, about how stuck up she was and everything. I wanted that side of her a bit more developed and explored, so that we could actually see it getting, so we could get a better payoff for her character arc in the end, when she actually overcomes that problem. Like, I wanted her to have a bigger problem of some sort, so that when she solves that problem, it would be a bit more satisfying for her character. And I felt like they really slightly undertreated her character in that sense, and gave her bullshit scene like the high heels running away from T-Rex, which was just out of nowhere. Like, what the fuck? And Bryce Dallas Howard's the justification for that scene was even more ridiculous, but I don't want to get into politics. I just want to look at the context of the film itself. And I also think that Masrani's character needed more development. I felt like he was really good potential. There was something interesting about him. We could have maybe found out more about why he cared so much about fulfilling John Hammond's dream. It could have been something like we could maybe get, I don't know, a bit more context about, maybe they were friends, maybe Masrani was his protege back in the days, maybe he was like working for him, and he eventually grew, and before Hammond passed away, and then we got some kind of payoff to find out what actually drove him to make this thing called work. You mean Masrani as a character was a plot device for Claire's arc, which kind of didn't really pay off anyway, because he just died in the stupidest way you could think of. And I kind of was hoping that if the sequel happens, that he would come back, but maybe he would be damaged, or he would end up in a wheelchair, scarred or something, but he would still kind of be, this person who would try to find a way to kind of solve things. But I don't know, I was hoping that we would see some kind of payoff to his character, but I was completely disappointed that they just killed him off like that. And then we have yeah, kid characters. I hate it. Why? Tell me why? Why do we need these kid characters there. Like, we could just remove them altogether from the whole story and nothing would have changed. Nothing, zero, zero. Oh shit, sorry. I'm why so much wasted money on extra characters? They could have just been extras, basically. Like, why was it there? Why was it needed to be there? Oh my god, there was no purpose. That's what I'm saying. They played an important part in Grant's arc, but in this, what was the point? Only to show that their auntie was what, incompetent, to be trusted? I don't understand. Did they not show that already, that her methods do not work? There is no need to give her annoying kid characters that she hardly ever interacted with, that she trusted to some hot-looking Irish babysitter who ended up getting ruthlessly murdered. I mean, not that I mind that scene, but I kind of I don't like it when hot-looking chicks get murdered. I'm sorry, I'm a bit biased in that sense, but okay. I grieved, and I got over it. Yeah, well, the actress. I mean, in the movie, I think she was just referred to as British, but the actress is actually is I'm breaking English language. She's Irish, yes. Katie McGrath is Irish. So in the movie, I think they just refer to her as British, but in real life, yeah, she's an Irish actress. And she played Morgana in Merlin TV series as one of the main characters, obviously. So, but yeah, why these kid characters were there, I have no idea. And this whole, we need more teeth. And he was just sitting there and counting. Dude, do you realize that the moment raptors are finished and done, your ass is gonna be eaten? Why were you not freaking... Yeah, it was a fun TV show, although I highly disagreed with some portrayals of the characters, because I felt like some of the Arthurian aspects of that story truly that were supposed to have made it more relatable just completely ruined it for me. I don't want to get into it here because it's off the topic, and it has some potential sensitive issues, which we don't want to offend anybody, right? So we're not going to bring it up here. But that's not the only thing. There was some things just generally that felt completely off, but I loved overall. And in case, just quick side note on that, the episode with the goblin was the best ever. Now let's go back to Jurassic World. So the other thing that I absolutely didn't like about what was that? No, I don't think it was a repeat of that death. I don't see how it was repeated. It was just like, I don't know, man. It's to be honest, if you haven't already concluded that I'm a bit of a sick fuck, this will help you more. What I'm about to say. When I saw her getting picked up by Pteranodon and then getting dropped in the water, dipped, and be like, and then I was laughing my ass off. I was fucking laughing, man. And then both of them just got freaking eaten by a mosasaurus, and I'm like, well, yeah, well, that was interesting. Like, exactly, yeah. Why did we need that scene? Like, oh, we need more teeth. And then she realizes, oh, I'm gonna go and let a T-Rex out, as if we don't have enough dangerous animals out there already. So let's go and have another one out here, because we don't know. What if it decides to team up with Indominus Rex? I mean, that's not possible, is it? Who knows? But yeah, the other thing that felt really stupid was how Blue decided not to run away immediately after the fight ended? And why was Blue just coming back again to attack Indominus? That was technically, if I were to be real with you, either Indominus should have basically gone down the first time T-Rex started ripping its neck apart, because it started that as well. If you notice, that was the same thing. It started by basically biting and chomping onto it. So I thought that would have been, hey, yeah, well, that kind of should have already done that. But okay, let's continue, because Indominus is a modified hybrid, so it explains why it's super freaking tough, and they use T-Rex as a base. Okay, and then the other thing as well was that, yeah, T-Rex should have just died there. That should have been the end of T-Rex, really. The raptor should have never come back, and none of that shit should have actually happened. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you edit this out, it just works the same way. It works perfectly fine. Claire just realizes that maybe she could provide more distraction, and the best way for them to have been was to escape. They decided to stick around and wait for the whole thing to end. Why would you want to wait to see the end of the fight? You just want to get the fuck out of there. Like, what are you doing there? Run, bitch. Why run, motherfuckers? Run, 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 run out of here. Out, out. Like, what are you doing there? You know what I'm saying? No, well, I don't know if Moza was killing for sport, because problem is, what if it was? No, I don't think it was. I mean, it saw an opportunity, and as an opportunistic predator who would probably be limited in the food supply at that point, I think it would have been quite happy to munch on something bigger than usual, considering how big that was. I mean, it was big enough to drag Indominus all the way to the water. It was oversized anyway, so. Well, with the skeleton, I kind of felt like this was a bit too much fan service, and honestly, this is one of the many things that I've already listed that I just didn't like about the film. It was just heavily relying on the old references and nostalgia instead of actually bringing something new to the table. Like, yeah, for example, I didn't feel anything about that. I was like, okay, whatever. You obviously did some fan service, but that was just complete bullshit, for no reason for it to exist in that story at all. Just why? So I don't know why they shoehorned it in there. I have no idea. Now let's think what else. Anybody else have anything to say maybe about the aviary? I'm breaking English language again. Aviary scene. Anybody think about what went down there? Also, did anyone else think it was a bit weird that the minigun was conveniently missing every single shot when it was firing at Indominus from the helicopter? Am I the only one who felt that way, that it was just so forced that they just really, like, what the fuck? Yeah. 22-year-old Jeep. How the hell anything is still functioning there? Like, how would you make anything work in that thing, man? Come on. 22. Like, sometimes, you know what? Leave your vehicle. Some older cars, for like that, you can leave them for at least a week, or like 2 or 3 weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks, or even a month. The battery just dies, and unless you can find a way to recharge it, you will not be able to even jump start it, even if you wanted to. And how did any other spare parts in there actually survive? Like, how did they survive the weathering, the elements, etc.? Because they all need kind of, specific conditions, and be isolated from the elements in order to not get damaged. Yeah, I'm a bit curious. Are they basically going to be local to the island? So they basically escaped, but they're not traveling. because it took too long to fly, so they would need to rest, or because of the storms, or because food. I don't know. Yeah, that's right. The car survived, but the roof was completely like broken, and I didn't get how that works. So interesting. Uh, I mean, honestly, I don't understand how the minigun actually missed. It should have hit at least once or twice, minimum. It's just so unrealistic for a minigun to miss at least to miss every single shot like that. Like you could see, it was pretty well aimed, and it was almost like narrowly landing there. So I don't know. Stupid. Let's put the sword down and see maybe what other paints we can add before we get onto Fallen Kingdom and bring the mace out. By the way, what shall I do? Shall I keep the sword or shall I bring the mace back for the Fallen Kingdom once we move on to that? How do you want the Fallen Kingdom to be murdered? By the sword, the noble death, or the gruesome death by smashing? Still Legion Drive. That's kind of interesting. Well, I don't have a minigun, man. They're illegal in the UK, unfortunately. A freaking wish would be pretty fucking helpful, wouldn't it? Black, brown, burnt umber. Mace, okay. Yeah, trebuchet would be nice too. Which I think would be actually legal if I were to build a trebuchet at my front backyard, but I don't think it's gonna happen, unfortunately. But there is a trebuchet at the Warwick Castle, I think, here in England. So we can always borrow one. Right, just need to get a couple paints over here because I want to decide what other detailing I want to add to the colors. So let's see. What's this? Elysian green. Do you know what? I'm gonna probably do it more like a brownish or not. Damn it, I can't decide. Okay, let's try this and let's get. Sorry guys, just give me a few more seconds. I literally want to pick out some colors so that we can get back into the painting and then we'll carry on. Okay, I think I'm happy. Right. So let's put the sword back down. Now, with Fallen Kingdom, the whole time I was always like, what the fuck did I just watch? Is this still a Jurassic franchise film? Okay, oh my god, where to begin? Where to begin? How did Mosasaurus stay alive for so long without any food supply? Because there was no food, because it was isolated still, the gates were closed. Also, how did all of a sudden the gates appear to be connected to the ocean, while on the island it was a separate isolated pond with land surrounding it everywhere? Is it not? Then the kind of very sloppy and anticlimactic shoehorning dinosaurs around was just so random. Everything felt so forced. there was just absolutely no reason for, like, this stupid scene where T-Rex presumably beats up Carnotaurus, stands over it, poses for a roar, and then fucks off. For some reason, they decide that it's something that would happen. They would be like fighting with each other while there is a freaking volcano. So what? 3 years is a long time. You think it would not be able to? Do you think it would be able to sustain itself for 3 years without food? You joking? Really? What was it eating the whole time? Tell me, what was it eating? No, but seriously, I'm not being mean here or anything. It's just honest question. Indominus bones were perfectly intact. I don't understand why the whole skeleton was so intact. It should have been splintered into pieces. I mean, yeah, sure, it could have been just broken around a bit. Maybe the skull would have been preserved because there was no meat on it, pretty much. But everything else should have been pretty much trashed to bits. Oh. Do you know what? Negan would be jealous of this one. Lucille doesn't quite work as strong and powerful as that. One hit of this thing. If only it was more historically authentic for the, for the weight, because the weight distribution is not done properly. So that's sign of, unfortunately, poor craftsmanship. So it's good for display, but not very good for actually to train with it and actually use it as a simulation to practice with historical medieval martial arts kind of thing. So if they were to do it properly, then, as I said it in my previous stream when I was showing it off, you could actually make it very historically accurate. So that's why it makes it a little bit tiring, even if I try to kind of hold it for too long, because so we'll just leave it like that for now. Yeah, I don't understand how did the skeleton become intact, and I didn't like the idea of how they were shoehorning dinosaur fight scenes out of nowhere, and yeah, exactly. It looks like he didn't even try to eat it, and how would it not even eat it if the food supply was limited? So it just, the whole thing was just completely off the rails. Yeah, of course, the whole thing is just a cash cow. There is absolutely no reason for these things to exist. So the other thing I was iffy was the baryonyx scene. Like, how the hell was it sticking around there when the lava was there? How the heck was it not trying to run away and just basically fuck off at the first sign or smell of lava there? What the hell is going on? Then it had like a bit of lava drip on it. It didn't do anything. It didn't do jack shit. Did it climb up the ladder? Exactly. I don't understand. Or how did they get it out of the whole thing? And maybe it ran out the other way. I don't understand what happened. Oh my god, if it really did climb the ladder and I didn't notice it, that's just another more bullshit to add to the list. Oh my god. The other thing as well, like, yeah, oh yeah, there we go. So I saw that message. Chris Pratt's scene with the lava, how the hell? Like, he wasn't even sweating. Did you see that? He wasn't even sweating. He didn't even care. He was just like, hot potato, what the hell? Really? You insult me like this? Universal? You insult my intelligence? Quoting Michael Corleone, making me very angry about that? Yeah, and that's thing as well. And then it catches up with Chris Pratt's character, with Owen, and somehow he comes out unscathed of it, considering that breathing in volcanic cloud can actually destroy your lungs from the inside. Did you know that? Because it has shrapnel in it, very sharp pieces of shrapnel that if you breathe it in, you basically die. To not only touch, he was already too close to it to, like, he would have already been getting burned badly just by being that close to it, not to mention touching it or anything. You cannot be that close to a lava without special protective equipment. And that's also making me think that how many dinosaurs should have also just basically suffocated and perished before we could even see anything happening to them further than that. Like, how did some of them even make it out? Because they, again, same thing, volcanic glass, they should have just basically died just from breathing in. And the other thing, like, okay, can I just move on to the characters? Or shall I? Oh, well, I mean, Indoraptor, let's cover Indoraptor. Okay, fine. Let's do Indoraptor and some of the dinosaurs first, and then we will move on to characters. Because characters is where my biggest rant comes in. That's the freaking the only. That's one of the things that just made me absolutely furious. These stupid ass characters. And Indoraptor felt to me like it would have been. You know what? It would have been pretty decent if it was the first hybrid in the franchise. I think. Like, that could have been the idea. But that's the funny thing. They saw how fans didn't like the concept of dinosaurs being weaponized. They hated that idea. Everybody was giving them backlash for it. What did they do? They decided that it's a cool idea to weaponize dinosaurs because apparently it's so much fucking, like, it's gonna work marvelous because apparently dinosaurs make perfect weapons, better than anything. Like, are you fucking joking me? Maisie is gonna be part Triceracloptus thing, whatever you said earlier on. That's basically Paul Kirby said in third film. That's what she's gonna be. She's gonna that's gonna be the subversion of expectations, the big twist at the end. She's gonna be the Triceracloptus whatever thing. That's gonna be a fucking thing. Triceracloptus, yeah, yeah. She's gonna be that, yeah. Dude, she's gonna I fucking bet your ass this is gonna happen. Well, it has to happen. If it doesn't happen, I'm just gonna stand up and walk out of the theater. I'm gonna ask for my money back because if this happens, I'm at least gonna have a laugh. Otherwise, it's just gonna be boring as fuck. So yeah, exactly. Like, they just went with exactly the very narrative that people didn't want, and they knew about it, and they still went with it because Hollywood just doesn't seem to understand how logic works and how business models work. I don't think D&D could truly come up with an idea of tricycloptots. Blah. Jesus, I'm just going to call it Tricycloptus because otherwise I just can't pronounce it without breaking my tongue. Yeah, yeah, exactly. They just make it like right out of the blue, like out of the month. Fuck. Like, how do you do that in such a short term, man? How do you do that? If I knew how to do that, I would be making some more too. I would have like guard dogs all around me, and nobody would freaking come close to me. I would be ruling this whole country if I had that on my side. You know what I'm saying? And nobody gonna be fucking with me after that. Tricycloplot, tricycloplots. Yeah, tricycloplots. I like it with the S at the end because it's just sounds a little bit more, I don't know, funny. I'll need to look at the film again. I'm probably gonna, after this stream is finished, I'm gonna do that. I did say that I wanted it to be a bit shorter, but it's like 2 hours. But fuck it, let's just continue and finish with this film, and then we'll leave it. So this is where we're at. We've done the base coloring, and okay, I know what. I'll put the mace down and I'll start applying some patterns so that we can actually walk away with some more things done. Okay, can we start murdering some characters now? Because seriously, the characters in this movie are just so like cringy and are so annoying. Like I haven't had more annoying characters in this entire franchise ever. I mean, this guy. Well, okay, shoehorning Ian Malcolm for no real reason, like just so we can have a scene for fan service. Why? What was the point? How did that make the movie any better? It didn't do it. It didn't do jack shit for the film. Nothing. And this Franklin, this guy. Oh my god. Eat soy, basically overdose with soy, and ask this guy to fucking go to an island with dinosaurs. Are you fucking joking me? Also, I would be okay with him being there if he got eaten. But he didn't get eaten. He didn't die. He lived. That cunt fucking lived. I wanted him to die. Like, such an annoying freaking... I hated seeing... Like, the whole time I was sitting there, I just wanted to freaking toss something at him. Like, throw a knife at him or something. I don't know. Or, fuck, I don't know. Maybe fart so loud so the whole freaking cinema could hear me. Just if it would do any good. I don't know, man. Anything would do at that point. Just... this freaking character, man, I was just like sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, the mercenary character, the tooth collector, was just idiotic as fuck. And, but, oh my god. Anybody else here think that maybe if Franklin got eaten, maybe we would kind of justify, his presence in this movie? Being so annoying and shit? Like, am I the only one who thinks that if Franklin actually was killed, we could actually, it could actually work better that way at least? We'd have somebody who keeps screaming. Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing. He didn't do anything like really useful that nobody else could have done. It's not like they couldn't have Owen or Claire be able to use the program to unlock or whatever the system. They could have just done that and completely left him out of there. There's no reason for him to be there. He's completely useless. Or why not to bring the old guy from the, not the old guy, I mean from the 2015, the Lowry guy. Remember who got friend zoned by this chick? I mean, that was kind of pointless as well. I didn't see any reason why that was even shoehorned there. Why did we even do that? But fuck, dude, I've seen so many hyper nerds who don't act like that. Okay, they don't act like fucking idiots like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't go around scream like fucking little fucking I don't know what. Like seriously, nerds don't act like that. As far as I know, that's a very misrepresented idea of what a nerd is in many different ways. It's like they've seen some nerds like this and they decide that all of them are like that. Mm. Yeah, I was. Yeah, Carter was like, ah, ah, ah. He was screaming his fucking lungs out, man. It's insane. So yeah, Franklin was annoying. Paleo doctor. What kind of a doctor doesn't know that two different blood types of different animals don't combine? They don't co like they're not interchangeable. I don't know how else to put it. Like what how can a biologist and a paleo doctor know these things and without actually having any hands-on experience with dinosaurs? Or just not understand the basics of how this whole thing works? I don't understand that. And yeah, she felt completely pointless. But there is one redeeming quality about her. One. I'd still smash. I would totally smash. Chimpanzee getting run over. Yeah, man. That's right. That's fucking right. Although I would have rather preferred like something, I don't know, maybe an Allosaurus or a Carnotaurus, whatever, baryonyx, just eat his ass. Well, I mean, eat him, okay? Because eat his ass kind of sounds like a double meaning here. So no, let's not get into it. Right. So show you what I'm trying to do here. If I can. Just doing like light brown, sort of darker beige on the top, and then we're gonna do some darker brown on top as well, mixed with some dark green maybe, or grayish, something of that sort. Also, this scene with Brachiosaurus, like some people were all like, "Oh my god, it was so touching, it was so sad." No, sorry, but you didn't sell that to me, Universal, because that was just another way of recycling the old, nostalgia crap. Just as these whole films overall have been, just the endless recycling of nostalgia, just so much shite. It wasn't in the Lost World. The Brachii died in the Fallen Kingdom when they were getting off the island. Or was that in the what do you mean? Because as I said, we're discussing the movies. So if that was in the book, that I can't remember because I read it so long ago. So I don't know. Sorry, I can't hold the dinosaur for too long. I'm just getting my hands rested, so it's gonna be a little bit off the camera. So apologies for that. I'll bring it back to the camera shortly. Oh, hello there. Yes, 2 hours, almost 15 minutes, but what the fuck, we're still here. We ain't going nowhere, are we? It's just gonna be really long for people to, who are gonna be catching up, who missed the stream. This is gonna be just so, like, long, 2 hours. So yeah, those of you guys who are gonna be coming here to catch up with the stream, who haven't got it from the beginning, yeah, get yourself some snacks and drinks, because you're gonna need it. Right, okay, so I just wanted to quickly show you what I've done so far. Just a little bit of see, there's this kind of light. Oh, you see the patterns, right? So it's like the light kind of brownish sort of pattern, yeah. So that's what I'm doing. And then what I'll do is once we do all the patterning and once I lay all the colors out, what I want to do is I want to give it a wash to kind of turn this whole thing into like a swampy yellowish color, which will be akin, maybe similar somewhat to Viserion from Game of Thrones before he turned into the Ice Viserion. I want to try to experiment with that color scheme anyway. because just thought it would be cool. Don't know why, just came up with that. Right, let's see what else. Yeah, we need something completely new for the franchise itself, like not the JP franchise. I think we just need something really new. Somebody. Well, I mean, again, I'm working on a book myself, but dude, by the time I will release the first book, provided that it's actually gonna be well received, how do we know that it succeeds? Because I mean, I'm trying my best to do whatever I can with the writing. And as I said before, the book that is going to have dinosaurs in it, obviously. But the main focus is obviously not on dinosaurs; it's mostly on the characters. So, I honestly think that when I get my 1:20 T-Rex sculpted, at this first one, it's going to be a lot better in that sense for the painting, because there's going to be more detailing in it, so I can individually kind of paint some of the scales more rather than randomly just putting the dots with small paintbrush. So this one I will have to just stick to whatever I can, but with my with the bigger sculpts, it's going to come up even better, I think. So let's quickly dry this up and then address the chats. Just a second, guys. Let me just quickly finish this while the brush is still wet, so I can lay this paint down, and then we will address the stuff happening in the chat. Right, okay, so let's dry up the paintbrush just for a bit, just to get some rest. Okay, let's address all this stuff. Hello, Yusiku. Yep, that was Carter. Yes, I recall. That was Carter who got stomped by the female T-Rex. Oh, thank you very much, Paul. Yeah, I mean, writing is tricky. I mean, I'll tell you a little bit. Are we, by the way, are we happy with where we are with Fallen Kingdom? Like, did we pretty much rant about what we had in mind? I mean, oh yeah, by the way, do you know what else I wanted to rant about before we move on? Because I wanted to finish up with something slightly different, maybe to do with the book, perhaps, because it's brought up. So I thought I might talk a little bit about that, just a little bit. And but they've basically developed Claire and Owen, and got Claire to the point where she decided to accept the idea of having a relationship and letting herself kind of get into this whole thing, while previously she was kind of alien to it, while her sister was kind of hinting, be like, not if but when. And we were kind of led to believe that her and Owen were gonna start a family, and then they decide to just retcon it and just like break them up. And then for some stupid reason, while Claire was still dating some guy at the time when her and Owen met up, they hooked back up together. So does that mean that Claire's boyfriend got cucked like a beta simp? No, seriously though, he got cucked. She never actually broke up with her other boyfriend before she went back together with Owen. So yeah, she potentially just basically pissed off some dude. Like, I'll be pretty fucking pissed if that happened to me. Like, if some chick did that to me, I would be like so freaking annoyed. I would grab that mace and do whatever needs to be done. unless there was no boyfriend, and but then again, it wasn't her who brought it up. It was actually, I think, Owen who said something about him being the accountant or whatever, because he was being the whole sarcastic dickhead about it, which was cool. I liked it when Owen was being a dick to her. I think she was very well placed. I would not be able to resist it. I would also be acting like a dickhead to her in that situation, because why not? Because I can. So Jurassic Park franchise has become what Doctor Who wanted it to be in the book. A park filled with what people want, not what's real. Well, can you tell me this? Do you think that people actually wanted all of this that we are seeing now to be in this franchise? Because I don't know. I cannot obviously say on behalf of everyone. I can only try to do the research on it and see how many people genuinely agree with that and say that, yeah, that's what we wanted. But me, as somebody who's been a fan ever since it first came out, because I basically watched the film when it first came out, the very first in '93. So I'm old enough to go back that far. And I will tell you that that's not what I wanted from this franchise at all. That's not what I wanted. Not after the first two films. Everything that went after, that's just completely not what I wanted at all. In fact, I would have rather just had these two films and not have anything else after that to follow, instead of what has actually happened. Well, I mean, if you're talking about it just being like a popcorn flick kind of thing, then yeah, perhaps. Oh yeah, 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 of course, yeah, same dinosaur designs, yeah, like many things not getting fixed. I mean, I'm not saying that they should have necessarily. I mean, okay, here's the thing. What do you guys think if they kept the old Raptors design as well, but also introduced another breed of raptors, maybe made them filamented or feathered, whatever, just to kind of sort of acknowledge that there are other ways they figured out to breed them. Maybe that's closer to the real thing, but maybe just to kind of they don't even have to play any important part in the film. They could have just been shown doing something, like something more natural, like they could have been like having a go at one another over a piece of meat, or maybe they could have like I don't know, just run around doing something like making some kind of call sounds, whatever, and just something that would allow us to see them clearly doing something. At least one kind of scene like that would have been cool, I think, just so that we can acknowledge that there are some of these things that have been incorporated. And for the T-Rex, personally, I was very bummed about the fact that they just haven't fixed the arm size. Like, it would have not affected the design at all, even if they positioned it properly and made the arms smaller. And even left everything else the same. I just do not think how it would have ruined the design at all. It would have still been the same, in my opinion. I would say like a mix of again, I'm breaking English language. For a raptor, I would say, yeah, definitely something to do with bird DNA mixed. Then I would also, for a T-Rex, I would do like mixed bird and maybe like a crocodilian or something basically to do with living archosaurs as much as possible. For some reason, camera is having problems with focus. I'm probably gonna need to get myself a new camera, or maybe I should stream from the phone next time. I don't know, because it's just Seems I think my camera on the phone is probably better quality than the one on the webcam I'm using right now. Thank you. Oh yeah, hey Brian, how you doing? I didn't realize it was you first. Right. Um, so yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that there could have been things that they could have done and changed without actually affecting the classical and iconic franchise sort of, trademarks, so to speak. So, like, I'm just saying that there was a way around that. Oh, dude, as I said before as well, give me some time to kind of really add it all up, just so I don't put it over the roof, but at the same time, so I can obviously buy some food for the fridge, so to speak. I will definitely. Okay, I tell you what. I'll get back to you on this. I'll get back to all of you, and when I do it, I'll announce the price, and you guys will basically decide which one of you will be able to commit to buying it. Then you can get it. So, but since you already expressed interest, I presume you're the first because, well, you already said so, kind of. Okay, I'm blabbling now, so let's get back on track. What was that? What was that? This might be a bit unrelated, but remember when you said. Yeah, I mean, there has been. I can't remember. I think it was Dr. Carr who used Brochu's measurement. I believe. I can't remember for sure. So I will need to ask him again. I'll need to go back and revisit that conversation that we had about it. The rich guy, the one you mean who was the auctioneer? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like everything, basically everything character related in this film is just so pointless. It's just like pointless is basically the middle name of this whole movie. I wonder how I sound with the helmet on. Can anybody understand what I'm saying? Guys, can you hear me or understand what I'm saying? Or am I just. Yes? No? Ah, okay. Oh my god, it's so weird speaking with a helmet on. Like, it's so freaking weird. Oh shit. Everything is like echoing back to my ears. Okay, let's let's try this. Oh. Ah. Oh. Right. Okay. We're done with that for now. Right. Okay. Back to normal. My God. Anybody want a chewing gum? I'll have some. Don't know about y'all, but I will have some. I've been dying for that for quite a while, to be honest. But yeah. Dude, imagine if I hit myself with a mace. That would be like freaking crazy. Even if I wore an arming cap underneath that helmet, which I should have worn, really, technically speaking. But it's not a real helmet, obviously. It's a plastic one. So, but still, man, Maces were designed to freaking fuck you up, even if you wore a fully plated armored knight. That was basically, and this weapon that I had right there, in case you haven't seen it already, the Morgenstern, that's basically like an auto delete button for medieval knights in full plate armor in 15th century. Do you know what else I hated? How they. Why did this girl release all the dinosaurs? Why did they not just let them die? I mean, it would have been so bitter, but kind of understandable if they just let them, perish, because they knew that there was just no way. This wasn't the world was not ready for them. You know what I mean? Like they that was part of the bitter whole bitter part of it that I think they needed to explore if they were trying to at least somehow rescue this film. But no, the dumbass just had to hit the fucking button. I'm sorry, I'm swearing a lot, and I hope YouTube does not do anything. I mean, I'm not monetized yet anyway, so it's not like they can demonetize me, but they can still demonize me. Oh wait, it's too late for that already. But yeah, I mean, not YouTube, but yeah, I was gonna say release the T-Rex, and the rest, the rest can die. Well, not really though, but I don't know. The other thing was how they transport cages. Remember how tiny and freaking shrink they were? Like that truck, that container that was holding a T-Rex was so freaking tiny. I don't understand how could they contain an animal in this kind of closed area. It was ridiculous. Yeah, I know. They're alive, like me. Boo hoo. And that's a reason enough to basically, like, I don't know, turn the whole ecosystem with them being released to literally shit. Right. Because they're alive like you, right? Like, no shit, Sherlock, they are. I can see them right in front of me. Oh my god. This movie, man. You see what it does to me every time I talk about it? My language starts breaking. I start wanting to swear, but I cannot swear a lot because, reasons. I'm trying to be kind of cool, and friendly in that sense. I don't want to come out like a complete, what do you call these people? Like in Russia, we usually compare these people to like shoe workers, people who manufacture shoes in a shoe factory. Like there are these factories back in Soviet Union, they would have, where they were manufacturing leather shoes. And my God, if you went in there, the amount of swearing words and you could would be so much that you would make up a whole dictionary of them, and that would still not be enough to cover it. So that's why in Russia there was always this expression, like you swear like a shoemaker or something like that. Or bootmaker. In Russian language, it's sapozhnik. It's absolutely mad, man. This film. Oh my god! And what else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, all of a sudden, John Hammond has a secret relative that we never knew about, or something like that, right? I mean, where did that come from? I just realized that. My god. It took me freaking 2.5 hours to just remember that thing. My god. I just realized it. How did we not know about this the whole time? By the way, am I still streaming or did I cut off? Did I get cut off? Guys, are you still here? Can people just type something to confirm that they are still here? Because it's a bit weird. I can't understand whether I'm talking. Okay, yeah, cool. I thought I was talking to myself. But yeah, like, where did this guy come from, man? Benjamin, yeah, you did. Yeah, that's right. Benjamin Lockwood. Like, all of a sudden, we're just like shoehorning these old colleagues, old friends, Like lots of different old friends, relatives that we never knew about, some freaking Santa Barbara crap, soap opera nonsense. If Rafael, my friend from Brazil, is watching this, he would know why I'm comparing it to Brazilian soap operas, because that's kind of almost how it would look if that were to be done that way. But yeah, it's a typical cash cow, and I don't know, man. I don't think I'm looking forward to the third sequel of this new reboot, so to speak. It's like I used to look forward to the 2015 one until I realized that I just really like that. No, I would just rather have one bad ugly duckling of the three instead of having like three ugly ducklings out of five, potentially four out of six, because I just don't see how the new movie will actually come out good. And why the hell was that lion still standing off and showing itself off against the T-Rex? Why was it not running for its life? Stupid lion, bad lion. You're embarrassing me. I'm a Leo. I am fucking brave as there is, and I would still run like like a motherfucker from that T-Rex. Fuck's sake. Oh. My phone is ringing, but I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to have to text back and say that I can't talk. Or shall we just wrap it up for now, guys? Maybe it's a sign that I need to wrap up the session before it goes into like 3 hours. Are we happy with everything, or do we want to cover more things with this? Let me just wait for you to kind of see. Yeah, exactly. It's not just because it would get eaten, but you know, it's one of those things that, it's a bigger predator, like that's freaking 10 times your size, more than that maybe, and you're just standing there being like, yeah, cool, man, come at me, bro. Really? Come on, even lions are not that brave. I mean, even a honey badger would run away, and honey badger is like freaking braver than any lion I've ever seen. Nah, I ain't gonna stream my call. I'm actually gonna wrap up this session. Just want to make sure that I've brought up everything that there was, and then we're just gonna call it the evening, and I'll try to think of when I can schedule my next stream for. I'm just trying to look at the calendar right now, see if I can come up with some ideas. Saturday is probably not gonna happen because my uncle has a birthday party, which I'm going to. On Sunday, I will be busy as well. I don't know, but maybe I might be able to do Monday next week, potentially. So there is a possibility I could do Monday next week, but I'm not certain yet. I will probably post an announcement later during this week, but Monday, maybe the 10th, might be the next time. Yeah, no. I actually, you know what? I would love for them to go back to the roots if they ever did a reboot, but it needs some time to breathe, so that we can let all these shitty sequels just die, and then we can, hope. And the only way I think it can ever be done is if like all fans come together, then they decide who they want to nominate as the project supervisor, because there has to be one person in charge of the whole process. You cannot just come together as a bunch of independent people and expect to be able to produce a good quality piece of work. There has to be one person who has the right mindset to supervise all of this, and then get all the good writing in there, get people to submit ideas, try to select them, try to play around with them, try to see how many of them are mutually exclusive or not, so that maybe the best can be taken from everything. Then if you get the license for the soundtracks, etc., you can get a good composer. Like Star Wars Theory hired a good composer, for example, to rework some of the Star Wars iconic themes. You can do the same with Jurassic Park themes very easily, and get good CGI, good some animatronics, locations, obviously, everything like that. If you have the right money, if you have the budget, it's possible. But it needs to be done by the whole thing needs to be done. Especially the story part and the writing of it needs to be done by people who genuinely care about the product, who genuinely love the franchise for what makes it Jurassic Park. Not for just a dinosaur flick, but what makes it an actual Jurassic Park product. Why is it good? What makes it good? Dinosaurs themselves on their own are not the only things that make it good. There are many other things about Jurassic Park movie itself and the story in the books, which, as I many times said already, but to those who are new, I will reminder that I need to catch up on the books again because I haven't read them for a long time. So what makes the story good is not just the dinosaurs. There are many things that make it good. Because they don't have competent people. Everybody there has a lot of money, a lot of connections. They promote each other. They don't let anybody else in. They just only stick with their own circle jerk. And that's why you start getting shitty products. Because they've run out of good ideas. They don't understand their fandom. They don't understand the characters. They don't understand what makes the story truly amazing. And they don't have the right people in charge anymore who can take care of it. That's really all there is. That's why Jurassic franchise is gonna fail eventually. And in my eyes, as a story, it's failing. It's just not failing in a thing in the box office yet. But as a story, it's failing. And Star Wars is failing. What else? Marvel Universe, failing. Although I've never been a hardcore fan, but I still enjoyed them from time to time. I could enjoy them, but now I cannot enjoy them anymore because they're just so full of crap. And what else? Game of Thrones, ruined as well, as we discussed in the last stream. So all of my favorite franchises at the moment are pretty much very underwhelming. The only thing I was somewhat happy about was, I've never been into Doctor Who, but I heard that it was ruined as well. I heard most people didn't like the new reboot. And same about Star Trek Discovery, I heard as well. I've never been a fan, but I still heard that people hated it. Aliens, yes, ruined. Predator, yeah, lots of franchises basically that were pretty much used as a cash cow and eventually just got ruined and reduced to a joke. Nothing more. Well, okay, guys. I wanted to thank you all for coming. I want you to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and because we need to grow to 1,000 strong, and then we can start creating some announcements where I can get better, in touch with you and give you some heads up for the content so you can have something to look forward to and get more excited about. And I'm still gonna research into the idea of how to run the Discord server, so that's gonna definitely happen. So you can also talk offline or whenever I'm online as well, so we can always pop in and out, discuss stuff. Maybe we could even play some games together. Like if any of you play Mordhau, by the way, that's my new favorite game right now. I'm literally cracking on it right now. So we can actually design our own cool-looking characters, something iconic, right? And we can go and murder some humans in the game in a horde mode, or maybe play a duel as well. And I can be a loot player playing Mortal Kombat theme and all that kind of jazz, or like Game of Thrones themes, whatever. Like we can do all of this crazy shit. So let me know what you think about that. And whatever it is, I will try and make sure that I can get all of this stuff organized so we can all have lots of fun. There can never be too much fun, you know what I'm saying? So thanks very much for coming, for watching. I will continue working on this guy. Next time we're on, I'm not gonna do anything to him. I'm just gonna leave him as it is so that you can see how he's gonna eventually come to life. So Until then, take care, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I think we need to do this more often. And until next time, guys, Rex out.